What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. My name is Splattercat, and we are here with the next episode of The Forest. In the previous episode, I had built our base all up from scratch again, and so I think in this episode we're going to go on a little bit of an adventure. But the first thing we need to do before we go on adventures is stock up for... When did I pick up a plastic torch? I don't remember picking that up ever. The first thing we need to do before we go on adventures is stock up on all of those lovely things that we're going to need. Oh, good, there's no cloth in my inventory, even though I thought cloth was... Oh, balls. So my cloth is apparently invisible right now, which actually... Oh, ass. Okay, and so we have cabinals. I'm running away. Maybe I'll follow this beach down here. I was going to make myself a ton of Molotovs, but I don't think that's actually going to be a practical application now that we know that the cloth is bugged out in my inventory. That or I just didn't loot any. Let me climb up the mountain over here. If you need to get up a mountain, it's just like Skyrim. Just keep spamming the space bar. Who would have ever thought that the mighty mountain range would be... Oh man, they're making use of my fire. That's my fire. Taking my stuff, you douches. They still seem to be reasonably aware of where I'm at, though, which is troublesome. I guess since I can't use any of my... Yeah, since I can't use any of my cloth, I can't make Molotovs for our adventure, which leaves me in a very, very interesting and precarious spot. I can make explosives, but those aren't quite as useful because I'm bad at aiming them, and every time I try to aim them, bad things happen. Let's have a look up and down the beach. We'll follow this thing around, and then we'll head back to base after we've had a good feel for what the island might look like. We did this briefly in one of our previous episodes, and I was pleased to say that it actually turned out to be a lot of fun, just sort of wandering around and seeing what the developers had in store for us. This guy's camped down here on the beach. This seems like an awful idea. Just me personally, with the way that tides work in real life, I don't know if that's him that got dismembered or if he dismembered somebody on his way out. I'm going to hope for the latter and say, good on you, pal. At least you went down swinging. Well, that's not going to quote the old Offspring song, but Come Out Swingin' was the name of the Offspring song, if I remember correctly. I really like the Offspring, but they're one of those bands that I just never get around to like buying all of their discographies. Like, I have a couple of them, but I don't have all of them. It's one of those bands that I... Damn it, they make me nervous. I'm going to face this way since they're probably going to come from over here. I should probably also crash out for the evening, considering it's a little bit dark and difficult to see. Let's eat our fish dinner first. Because worst case comes to worst. The one thing that I've noticed about the cabinals is they're very, very bad at chasing you. There we are. Eat ourselves a fish dinner, and let's keep on moving. I'm going to try and track down some more sticks, so I may go up this little berm right here. Be very, very careful. If you fall off this berm, it will kill you, and that is no fun. Nobody likes dying. That's the worst part of any game, is dying. Unless you're in... Planescape Torment. Planescape Torment, dying's not so bad. In fact, a lot of the traps and a lot of the puzzles rely on you being immortal. But anyways, not on the point that I was trying to get to. Let me whip out a weapon here that's actually going to be useful to us, in case they find us. And I was going to follow the beach down here, but we'll kind of go up and in this way. Let's take some leaves from all of these plants right here. I never noticed that those were growing around this big grandmother tree. I do want to know what this is going to be for. I'm hoping that these become some sort of meeting place. I've mentioned that since the first episode that I ever recorded, but I am really sincerely hoping that that turns into some sort of meeting place where you can powwow, or maybe jump on in there and have some kind of parlay with the cannibals in the case that they add some sort of diplomacy option, or just multiple tribes. That's the big thing that I would always be on the lookout for, is I would really hope that there would be tribes added at some point. There would be some tribes that would be 100%, they would always be inhospitable. There would be other tribes that sometimes they would really, really, really like to side with you, and just like back and forth, and maybe they would randomly generate every single time you played the game too. There's a lot of different possibilities that could occur right there. This little camp right here, is it just me, or is it really morbid when we walk into these little camps? I don't know what they brought. They have these giant musicians cases over here. Like film equipment or something? It'd be nice to have a little bit of lore and know like what they were doing here. Like maybe a magazine that's sitting over in the corner, or a notepad that would have a bit of, you know, horrifying lore about we've been here for a few days, we keep hearing noises out in the darkness, why we're here. Maybe they're doing something for like National Geographic, or they're doing something for Slate, or they're doing something for Vice. You know, just anything. They can make something up. But it'd be nice to know why these campsites are all over the place, because I'm reasonably willing to bet that most planes, most passenger jets do not come equipped with their own tents and things of that nature. Ah, here's where we were set up. Not last game, but the game before that. This is a little clearing where we had our log cabin. And there's the lake right here with the boat. I've been interested in trying out, I don't think you can make the boat yet. Let's have a look here. I think you need rope for it. So yeah, we can't make the boat yet, but you can eventually make a little small raft. I really hope that they implement that later on in the future to allow you to jump in between islands. Kind of a Wind Waker type routine where you can go island to island looking around and there'll be different stuff on each island. Yeah! How awesome would that be? In fact, maybe the different tribes are on different islands, and then you can convince them to canoe in between, like a little bit of Mountain Blade action. Have yourself your own little vanguard to fight and find your son. Very cool ideas that are all abroad here. I'd sort of like to swim across. I know last time we did some adventuring, we more or less just kind of followed this around. And I think when we did that, is that a lizard or is that a log? It is a bunny mounting a lizard. Great. The natural process has been completely and totally... Can I hit one of these with this rock? I want to see if I can murder something. That didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. I was hoping that I could hit something with that rock and kill it. What? That lizard was all up in my inventory, but he wasn't dead yet. How crazy is that? Stop, bunny. I demand you stop and you release your goodies unto me. Your bunny goodies. What we've learned from this situation is that I am terrible at hunting. You can smack rocks with sticks, was the point that I was trying to get at. If you look around, let's say that I bust that up right there. Or maybe I just go up to like the riverside and I hit it with a stick, you can get rocks. And so if you're particularly fond of just like throwing rocks into bodies of water, which I enjoy doing, then that's probably going to be a skill that you really want to memorize for later. Any location where it's rocky on the ground like this, you can hit it with sticks. And in hitting it with sticks, you will get rocks out. Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. I'm hoping later on you can come up with some sort of explosive where it incorporates the pebbles that you can pick up off the ground into a sort of grenade where the pebbles would become some form of langrage that would be launched around and blow holes in the enemy and cause all kinds of damage. Oh, good. We've got bad guys down here. And they are sounding off. Let's creep a little bit closer and see what there is to see down here. Looks like they've got a village in the mist down along the edges. The female is running off that way. Now what I'm doing is pretty dangerous, sans Molotov. But since the only home guard just left, it might not be so terrible of an idea to run through here and see what we can find. There tend to be flares and things up in their little bases. I've also seen other people... I watched other LPs, and I saw people that had like a really badass upgraded axe. I don't know what it is, but I've seen other people with a... It doesn't look like the plain axe, and it doesn't look like this one right here, and it doesn't look like the fighting axe either. It's kind of a reddish axe with a silver head that's actually wedge-shaped. It's not shaped like the one that you get off the plane, the emergency axe. And so I don't know if that's maybe from like the European release or something like that, or if that's something that's available to everybody that plays the game, but I have seen a third variety or a fourth variety of axe. I guess a fourth variety, because you got the stone axe, you got the plain axe, you got the fighting axe, or the logging axe, and then there's the one other one that I've seen in other people's videos. However, the people that I have seen in other videos with it were European. They were speaking like Swedish or something like that. So it is possible that it may be part of the European release instead of the United States one. That's the other side. So or maybe one of all of you could enlighten me down in the comments below as to where that axe comes from, or where we can grab it. In this case, I'm not going to mind the spoilers too much. The island, I'm hoping, I mean, the game is in very early alpha, so my guess is that they've sort of just strewn things about kind of haphazardly, trying to make sure that at least the area looks, oh, there's the Jarl's Maw right there. Okay, so back to knowing where I am. The Jarl's Wall, or whatever we decided to call it. There was a cave over here. This is where I set up my base during the stream. I put it up in these rocks, but then we found out shortly thereafter. So this little crevice over here, I built a base in here during the stream, but we found out later on that the bad guys could glitch through the walls of mountains, so you had to be very, very careful about using that strategy. It turned out poorly for us in the long run. We tried our best. I mean, we fought it pretty hard. We didn't die, by the way, but we did have to vacate eventually and just kind of go somewhere else due to both a memory leak and simultaneously the fact that the enemy was always bugging through our base, causing all kinds of problems. Now, if I'm not mistaken, up that way should be the front end of the fuselage. We're not using flare guns, so remember, this is a non-flare gun playthrough because the flare guns are broken and overpowered. Alright, some freebie blackberries over here, or blueberries, or whatever color berries you want to call them. They're blueberries. Looking at them, they're blueberries. I don't really like blueberries. I realized like a year or two ago that I had never had just like a raw blueberry. I had always had blueberries in other stuff like muffins, or I had had blueberries in, you know, pie or something like that. I'd never eaten a raw blueberry, so I bought a giant tray of blueberries and I just sort of ate them. I wasn't a fan, actually. I like blueberries a lot more when they've been processed and put into something than I do eating them raw. Eating them raw, they're not that great. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of flavor, and they've got like this weird misty, minty thing going on. Maybe I just ate them out of season or something. But they had like this weird minty aftertaste that really sort of turned me off because you had like a fruity flavor followed by like a weird airy misty taste in your mouth. Very, very strange thing. Let's cross the river over here. I want to take a look at this side island. We may have already done that in our previous playthrough, but I do want to have a look around now that we haven't depopulated the cannibals. In our previous playthrough, we had checked out this island over here under the auspices of having already bugged out our cannibals by putting down an effigy in the attempt of keeping them away. We actually did too well. The effigies act as a giant death laser that wiped them out all across the island. I don't know if it infected them with some random disease or what it did, but we made a totem of powerful juju that ended up eliminating our enemies forever. And so I want to see what's across over the river here that we didn't see before based on the fact that things had been despawned on us. So let's cross the river. We've still got our marker for where our home is at, so there's no risk here of us getting lost. Let me get a weapon out that's going to be useful just in case we do come across trouble while we're across here. We got plenty of food, so we've got loads of food. That is a lot of R's. The Choco Bar! That's got like 5 R's in there. Somebody got enthusiastic while pressing the R key when naming that thing. They were like, you know what, we're going to put an ass ton of R's in this thing. As many as you can fit. How many will fit on the package? The marketing guy was like 7. They're like, good, we're going to put 9. You're going to have to wrap it around the side. What in the hell is that? Ooh, it's got a leg. I have heard that you can light these on fire. How you do so, I'm not really too sure of. There's a free stick over there. Two hands, well, a pile of hands. That's actually quite the gathering of hands. That's not one guy's hands, that is multiple people's hands. And then again, we found those creatures down below, so maybe the cannibals fight the creatures in the caves and kill them every now and again, and that is a grisly sight right there. That is something. That is 100% something. But at least you could say one thing, it's the cannibals have guts, and there's your joke of the day. There it was, the joke has been deployed. And so on this side is where we see that the trees are actually growing underwater, which is kind of a weird thing to bear witness to. I don't know if they fixed the memory leak at this point either, but it does seem like my frame rate is a little bit more constant than it was to begin with. I think we're going to try and find the edge of the map. Let's do that. Let's see if that could be our adventure for the day. Finding the edge of the use lighter. Following area is not available in this build of the game. Please come back later. What happens if I go too far off in this direction? Does it kill me? Do I become moitered? Oh well. I guess at a certain point they'll probably pull all these trees up and out of the water. I don't even know if there's going to be cannibals on this end. It seems like a distinct likelihood that if the edge of the map is right there, they would wander off into the darkness and just sort of get themselves into trouble along the way. Gonna get lost out in the middle of nowhere. Still, I am glad that we've got a better feel for our bearings. I don't think the game has a whole lot more to offer us. I mean, we've pretty much played around with all the shenanigans we can possibly play around with. We've found mobs that are completely and totally immune to all forms of damage, except for ridiculously explosive, which is an element all of its own. Earth, wind, fire, water, ridiculously explosive. Those are the elements of the universe that I live in. And ridiculously explosive seems to be the scissors to the indestructible cannibal's paper. It definitely seemed to work out pretty well. Still, nonetheless, I haven't found anything in the caves worth grabbing. Everything I found in the caves is basically stuff that we can access elsewhere, largely relegated to things like coins. And so, since there hasn't been any treasure down in caves, I guess for the purpose of the LP, I really don't know how much longer we're going to drag this one out. I may instead try and pick up another survival game like Neo Scavenger in the near future. I don't know if that's something you guys would enjoy. But I think the game was pretty cool, and I've been brushing up on it recently. I've also been toying around with the possibility of a Project Zomboid collab with somebody else in multiplayer, but I don't know if that's going to go through. It's just something we've talked about it briefly at this point. As in, somebody asked, so, hey, if we were going to do a collab, what would you want to do? And I was like, well, my community really wants to see more Project Zomboid, like, all the time. They love Project Zomboid, so I don't think that there's any way that a Project Zomboid collaborative multiplayer game would fall through. I think that would be really, really successful. And then the other idea that was on the table, I think, was Cyber Heist, and the other one was Rust. But I don't know which one's going to get chosen at this point. I'm pretty neutral on all of those ideas. So we found ourselves, I don't know if I've been here already. They seem to recycle a lot of these little graphics with like the arms that are laying around and whatnot. So I think that seems clearly those bars are wide enough for me to walk through. I feel like the game is being a little pedantic right now. Really, I can't even walk through there. Not even a little. Well, fine then. I don't want to walk through you anyways, house. Like, yeah, I don't want you to walk through me anyways. Here. What are you looking at? I take your skin. I take your skin as a toll for looking at me, lizard. Kill this one too. Because lizard skin armor is really, really good. Basically how it works, I know I've never explained this in the past, but the way that the lizard skin armor works is that if you have lizard skin armor off, all damage is deducted from the lizard skin rather than your own personal self. Which is really super sweet. It actually acts as a 100% damage mitigation technique. I'm not sure that I want to know. I think we've been here before in one of our previous playthroughs. Yeah, this is one of those tennis ball guys. Came around like a tennis ball. He's got some sick trainers, though. I'd be borrowing those things. I'd be like, well, looks like I got myself a brand new pair of trainers. Thanks, pal. See you later. Break these open, grab anything that might be useful. And I don't think we found anything the last time we were here. Well, the last time we were here, this was despawned too, and I'm disappointed to find that it's despawned this time as well. There's no retinue, there's nobody on guard duty trying to make sure that I don't steal all their amazing stuff, all their awesome tennis ball troves. And then the music turns off instantaneously when we walk outside of it. That's lovely. That is 100% lovely. I guess we'll head back to base. I think I'm pretty close to breaking the series off. Just based on the fact that I don't think there's anything else for us to... Oh, I'm going the wrong direction. I don't really think there's a whole lot left for us to do. I mean, we could have various shenanigans and just fiddle around with stuff, but I feel like we've done everything. We've thrown explosives at people. We've thrown Molotovs at people. We've thrown tennis balls at people at this point. We have done a lot of stuff inside the breadth of this LP, so I think it may be time to move on to other pastures, at least until they patch this a couple times. And then once they patch it once or twice, we may jump back in. There's a cave down here, isn't there? Oh, it just sort of looked like there was going to be one. Stop gasping for air. We'll find your respirator or whatever it is soon. Before we got here, we were the worst asthmatic on the plane. And now the whole situation's just gotten worse. Our throat shriveling up like a butthole, just sucking shut. Apparently we're allergic to everything on this island, which would be just my luck. I have allergies that are bad enough to where I would almost assume that's the way it's going to go down. Be allergic to everything on the island. Just die a horrible, painful, itchy-eyed death. Have your eyes itch to death? Can that even be a thing? Like, ah, they're so itchy. Why won't this stop? That's the sound I make when my allergies are acting up. I don't know if that's the sound that other people make when their allergies are acting up, but that's the one that I go for. That is my go-to sound. Some people have go-to snacks. I have go-to sounds. Oh my god, my eyes are so... And beyond that point, I'm not sure there's much else to say here. Let's continue our giant trek home. I'm going to eat a candy bar right here. And that should allow us to continue sprinting. Our character has like the worst aerobic health ever. Then again, he is carrying around like 700 tons of rocks, sticks, hammers, and chocolate bars. So I guess that might explain why he's having so much difficulty running around. I also come from the perspective I'm used to backpacking. So every time I play a video game in which somebody can't run more than like 3 feet, I'm just like, so what's going on here? Is this normal for you? Because for me, I don't know. I enjoy backpacking. I really do. I enjoy hiking and backpacking, but I don't get to do it as much now that I'm out of college. When I was in college, I did it all the time because it was part of my curriculum. As a geologist, you spend a ton of time in the field just walking around, exploring things, backpacking, camping, etc. Because all the good stuff is way out in the middle of nowhere. But now that I'm no longer in school, I really need to set up a time to go camping again. Grab a bunch of amigos and head on out there to the great wild yonder. I want to beat somebody to death with a rock. That's something that I haven't done yet. I wish that the cannibals would go to sleep so that you could sneak up on them Ezio style. Super cool style, like shing, with your wrist blades, and then kill them with a rock. And I hear the sound of us being discovered. By whom, I'm not so sure. Oh, yes, there they are. Oh, my. She's a spry little climber. I'm going to stand behind my trap and see if I can bait one of them in. Hey, somebody come step on this trap right here. This is the only thing I have not witnessed in the game yet because I find it really, really difficult. Oh, hell, she's in the tree. What in the hell? Oh, that was creepy as hell. Don't do that. That's a pretty substantial horizontal leap right there. I really think that like the Pacers or the Kings or somebody would be really happy to bring her on as a possible recruit. Oh, they're in that tree too. They're everywhere. Pogo sticking around. You, step on this. Right here. Step on this. You. Hey. Hey, lady. Step on this thing. Come on. Oh, don't do that. Now I've got to edit. You still didn't even step on the trap. It seems like they're too smart to fall for this. She flinched when I swung the rock. I wonder if that's like the preliminary behavior for when they add in like parrying and stuff to the enemy that hasn't been added in just yet. I sort of want to step on my own trap just because this is becoming a little bit cumbersome. Like, seriously, step on the trap. Like, no, you step on the trap. I know better. I'm gonna go hit him. That'll bait him. That always seems to get their attention. Come on, step on my trap. Oh, that was awesome. Hell yeah. That was the greatest thing ever. Can I reset it? How do I reset this? I can't reset it, but I can beat someone to death with a foot. I guess you could say that violence is afoot. Uh-huh. You don't want to fight me. You don't want to fight me. I'll beat you to death with your friend's leg. That's how I roll. There it is right there. I will bring you to heel. That is exactly how this goes. Wow, you are taking it like a champ here. Now I'm stabbing you with his femur. Are you dead yet? Have you been moitered? Good. I don't even know where the female ran off to, but still, we got to see the trap work, which is pretty sweet. That was pleasing on a whole lot. Oh, she's stuck in a wall up right there. I don't know. Anyways, I'll probably break the episode off right here. This may be the last episode in the series because we're kind of out of things to do. And so, my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for another episode of The Forest, a delightful little buggy game. Still in alpha. You can purchase it on Steam. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I feel like this one is headed in a really good direction. I will see you all later. Take care out there, everybody, and hi-do.